All right, so we got chest today, a little chest day with a little bit of shoulders and tries at the end. And I'm gonna go over before I get in there, is what actually my whiteboard video is gonna be. The video after this one is how to actually track your progress to grow. What I mean by that is usually, and this is how I used to be, is tracking progress will go through writing down your sets and reps, and each time you go back to the gym, you try to get like either 5 more pounds on the same exercise with the same reps, up the weight 5 more pounds, or either set 1 or set 2, you try to get like 1 more rep. Like if you did a bench press for 180 pounds for 3 sets and you got 10 reps, 9 reps, and 8 reps last time you were in there, next time you may go in there and write down that you try to get like 11 reps and then 9 and then 8, and we'll count that as a good day of progression because you got 1 more rep on 1 set. Now, yes, that is progression to a degree, but I want to explain a couple of issues with that and how to actually resolve it, because I'd say the biggest issue with tracking that way is usually the main reason for plateaus in the gym, and it's usually not because of your type of training, it's because of the way you're tracking your progress, and you believe you plateaued because of how you track your progress. So if that's your main metric of saying, yes, I've improved this month, I've bulked, and I've gained an extra few reps on bench press, there is actually a much better alternative while still having the same growth. Because another flaw from that is you may have actually been able to get more reps than just 1 more from last week, but the mentality that you had of saying, I'm going to go in and get 1 more rep, you've already set the ceiling on what you can do that day and what you should be doing. So if you go in and you're trying to get 11 reps on bench instead of 10, you may go in and be pushed just enough for that last 11th rep. But in reality, if you didn't think about it and you just went in there and gave it your all, maybe you could have got like 13 or like 15 reps on the same exact thing. And that's part of because you had it on paper of like, this is what I should be doing. And your mentality is stuck directly to that of like, this is what I should be doing. And then you do just that. So that's another flaw with just tracking it like that. Now, an alternative, specifically for if your goal is just a better physique or bodybuilding or just want to look better. Because powerlifting is a different story. Of course, powerlifting, your whole goal is strength. You're going to want to track. So, different story if you're powerlifting. Those are my disclaimer before I say this. The way you do it is you have different metrics and also more metrics of actually tracking, and you will not be limited by the amount of weight you did or reps you did. One is tracking your weight week to week. So if you're eating in a surplus and you know that you're gaining like a pound or so a week, and you track yourself in the morning from like Sunday on week 1, Sunday to week 2, you gained a pound, that's the first box you check. That's progression. Now, the next one would be, I'd say 7 hours. Are you getting 7 hours of sleep every night? Because if you get that much, everything else when you're sleeping will figure itself out. Sure, you can get 9, 6, sure. Ideally, it's just like try to get 7 at least every day, because that's another box you can check of progression. So you got those 2 boxes. And then a third box is the mirror test. Because look, if our goal is having a better physique or bodybuilding, part of that is actually looking at your physique. Am I seeing gradual changes week to week? And you can know that if you take pictures once a week, in the morning specifically, because your body's depleted, you want an even comparison. You don't want to compare yourself at night after you just ate 4 burgers and then compare yourself 2 days from then in the morning when you had barely anything to eat the day before. like, of course you're going to look worse. So it has to be an equal comparison. Easiest way is in the morning. And if you see minor changes that way, that's another box you check. And then the fourth box, the last one, is if you're going in and training hard and giving it every single thing, every single ounce of effort you have. If you can check that box, that is how you can indicate if you are progressing, not just by merely the reps. Because look, if your weight is going up, if your body weight is going up, if you see the changes in the mirror, if you're getting full nights of sleep, I can virtually guarantee that you are gaining strength and going up in reps and weight, or gaining muscle. At bare minimum, you're gaining muscle because all the other boxes are checked. You know, without even having to track that part of your lift, that you are progressing, because all these other boxes you checked and know are in a line with your goal are good. And it's a switch in how you see your progression, because now you can track your progression based off of more metrics, and also plateaus aren't really plateaus anymore because you're not looking at just the rep itself. Look, you could do, let's go back to the bench press example. You could be doing bench press for 180 pounds again for 3 sets of 10, 9, and 8. And you may do that exact same weight for a month straight. And you'd be like, oh, I'm plateauing because I haven't changed the weight. But in reality, the past month, you went from dropping the weight and dropping the bar onto your chest and pressing up for 10 reps to now you're doing 10 reps of controlling it 3 seconds down and then pressing up. That is a completely different amount of strength to be able to do that. Maybe the only difference between week to week is now each rep you were able to hold it a second longer on the way down, but the same amount of reps, the same amount of weight. But that's the progression. And you don't really see that on paper, because usually when you try to push for that one extra rep, something else slips. Like you may be just dropping the weight because mentally you have to get that extra rep, and now you did an extra rep on bench press, but in reality you just sped up the reps. Like you just sped up the amount of time of the set. You made it much quicker just to get that one extra rep and check the one box. And then that you may think you're progressing, but in reality didn't do much because you sped up the reps. So it is let me make sure I don't hit someone. It's too vague of a indicator of progression of just tracking your workouts on paper, because you get all the other 4 ones in there and you know for a fact you're in the right direction. Because also on the other side of like the powerlifting aspect, you can gain strength, a lot of strength, and still look the same. If you've ever seen powerlifters, some of them aren't that large, but they can move some weight like 3 times their body weight. And part of that can come from just only tracking the sets and reps and weight side of it, the gym side of it, like in the gym side of it. So that's the big difference between the two, is what your goal is, and if your goal is for your physique, how are you tracking this, and how can we avoid plateaus and always just keep going forward. That's the best way to go about it. So that being said, we got chest today. Let's go crank it out. I think I'm gonna start with, I guess you guys will see. I'll do a pec fly, 2 different press movements, shoulder superset, some triceps, pose, and get back here and get out of there. So I'll see you guys in there. I got all you can eat. That camera was fine. I got all you can eat sushi like 2 nights ago. So this stuff should be pretty good. I'm sure that food's still. Yesterday was a rest day, which is why there was no video. And then, the food's still gonna carry over the next lift. And dude, I had, 8 sushi rolls, and then like fried cheesecake after it. So yeah, it's a lot more food than I'm normally having while I'm on the bulk. So should all go straight to here. But I gotta make another short form. I'll just make the short form clip based off of what I was just talking about before I got in here about plateauing by tracking your like on paper weight and reps. So I gotta figure real quick how am I gonna word it. If you like me and hit your long plateau, this may be why. Okay, that should be good. Because usually, if you guys see these long form videos, it's from me talking like right here. So. Let me just get the hook first. I want to make sure I see this correctly because half the time I've been just saying it off the top of my head and then going to edit it, and I look at this, I'm like, I just said a whole lot of nothing. If you're like me and hit a year-long plateau in the gym, here might be why. If you're like me and hit that year-long plateau where no weight or no reps is going up, here's might be why. Here might be why. All right, I think that's good. And now I can explain now. If you track all of your weight and all of your sets and reps to the actual rep number, or if you track everything to the exact rep on each set, you may be tracking your progress in a way that's not beneficial to your overall gains. First problem with tracking everything on paper is, one, you may actually have gotten more reps than just the one more you were trying to write down. Second, you may be cutting yourself short on that set just because you wanted the one more rep, and now you're cranking through each of the reps just because you're trying to get that box checked to mentally think that you're progressing more. That's how plateaus start. So instead of tracking just by the paper, if you're progressing or plateauing, go by first, is your body weight changing week to week? Next, are you getting 7 hours of sleep every night? After that, are you doing the mirror test, checking, is my physique gradually changing from 1 week ago in the morning to next week in the morning, and seeing those small gradual changes in your physique? Last is, are you still training hard every single time you come in here? Now, if you check all 4 of those boxes, I can guarantee that you are going to be progressing and not plateauing anymore on paper. That gives you 4 indicators of progression rather than just one that you're trying to reach. And if you don't reach it, you think you're not improving at all and wasting your time. So, powerlifting is a different story. But if your goal is to change your physique, try this out. I think that wasn't bad. That'll be the whole video on the whiteboard. So that was kind of my abbreviated version. That should be decent. Okay, so let's just get into it. got another thing I could cover before I do my next set, because this actually happened to me like a couple weeks ago, with just getting super sore, like all muscle soreness, after going on the past 2 months of like a super smooth bulk of gaining weight consistently, no soreness, no fatigue, and if you've been bulking for a while now, and all of a sudden you hit a wall, super sore, a lot of fatigue, and not sure what's going on, one of it may be your body adapts to the bulk finally. Your baseline was here, and you've been bulking up here. Now eventually your body gets to the same amount that you were bulking at, and that catches up with the fatigue side of not having enough food to push the bulk and keep recovering more, to keep the progression going. And part of that is just still adapting to the adaptation your body is responding. Let me make sure I say this right. Part of the soreness is from your body responding to the bulk you gave it, and now you have to push it even more. So that's part of the progression of continually pushing a bulk more and more in calories. Part of the indicator, yes, the scale of course. In addition to that, is when you start to get super sore in the gym, it's probably because your body caught up to the bulk you're currently at. So. If your weight's still progressing, maybe not as much, it might be time to bump up the calories just slightly more. I had to make that short form again. Hopefully that made sense. The fact that like, once your body starts to adapt to the bulk you're giving it, it levels off. You start to get a lot more sore because you don't have the extra food to help with the recovery side of it. Yes, you're still gonna be recovering, it'll just take a little longer because there's not that surplus of food. Hence you get a little more sore everywhere, start to feel like crap. Obviously sleep and everything, whatnot, but that's usually the main cause, if everything else is the same. I guess I can touch on it a little more. Another flaw with paper tracking. Like, if you track your progression based off of the amount of reps you did last time, an additional flaw to that is if you change the order of your exercises. Let's say I go do pec fly first before I do incline dumbbell, when I normally start with incline dumbbell, and you try to track the same amount of reps you got on that. I mean, obviously doing exercises before it is going to completely change the flow of the rep scheme that you put on paper. And part of an additional issue to that is you're looking at one aspect compared to the whole bigger picture of, is your weight changing?
Is your physique changing week to week in the mirror test? Are you getting full nights of sleep? And are you just still continually training hard each time you're in the gym? Because once all of those are in check, trying to get that one extra box checked on the paper tracking you're doing doesn't make that much of a difference. You could go an entire month of doing the same amount of weight and the same amount of reps on, let's say, bench press, but the difference is that from week 1, you were dropping the weight on your chest and then throwing it back up for 10 reps. But at week 4, you're able to hold it and control it down for 3 seconds and push it back up. Same amount of weight, same amount of reps, completely different amount of strength. So, there's a couple of flaws with when you just try to track everything and track if you're actually progressing through just the numbers, rather than the visual changes, scale changes. There's a lot more that goes into it. Okay. Yeah, if you don't have a spotter, or at least normally work out with yourself by yourself instead of a training partner always being with you. Some ways, instead of having somebody that help extra force reps, sure, drop the weight and keep going. But that last rep, if you just hold it literally as long as you possibly can, your arms are slowly going to give out, and they can really finish off whatever muscle you're trying to hit. Okay, that killed me. This is the last time I'm throwing for chest. I want to get a little more out of it, so I'm going to drop the weight just a little bit. Just crank out a little as many as I can before I move on to everything else.
Just do one for the whole volume.
No, I'll do like a machine. I can move this a little bit. Alright, I normally do like a machine press into a lateral raise, just to fly through shoulders really quick. I'll just mix it up today. Do a dumbbell shoulder press, go straight into lateral raises, because the main thing I'm hitting today is chest. I'm just gonna pump in my shoulders and tris, just to hit them a little bit before I have the main shoulder and tri day. So it's not 8 days in between when I hit a muscle group again. Because you obviously can hit a little more frequently than that. Especially shoulders and tris. Quads may be a little different, but at least for this. I guess you guys can't see anything. solid lift. Let me zoom this in for y'all. There we go. So I gotta say, middle of the bulk, man. Kept pushing more and more weight. My head's pounding. Forgot about that after doing 4 months of a prep, 2 months of a rebound after prep. I don't know, it's been like 8 months since I've actually really pushed some heavier weight than I'm normally used to. And I haven't really gotten that pounding feeling. Even when I was like late into my prep before show, it wasn't like that. I was more just exhausted. Pound some caffeine before working out and chilling. But check it out. I mean, I had sushi, all you can eat sushi 2 nights ago, and I could certainly feel that it's still circulating the bloodstream for show. So yeah, this is the 8 sushi roll and fried cheesecake pump from 2 nights ago. Check it out. Solid. What's this thing doing? Okay. Yeah, this is definitely in the thick of the bulk for sure. Might have to throw in 1 additional rest day. Let me move this up back up so y'all can see me. Might have to throw in 1 additional rest day in the bulk if your head's pounding a little too much. CNS is getting caught up to you. Your CNS fatigue is getting caught up to you. Throwing an extra rest day instead of just doing an entire deload week would be much more beneficial. Even 2 rest days would be a lot better than throwing a whole deload week, because in a bodybuilding sense, you don't need a whole week to help recover yourself to get back on track. The reason powerlifters do deloads is because you're doing 1 rep maxes once a month. And the amount of strain that puts on your CNS is a lot more than you doing bodybuilding workouts of 3 sets of 12. Which is why it's less often that you need to get that little recovery boost. And when you do need it, 1 to 2 days off from the gym on top of your normal rest days can get the job done. So definitely a very, very big difference between a recovery from powerlifting and a recovery from bodybuilding in a deload sense. That being said, let me go yap in the car. I'll see you guys in there. Whew. Okay.
Yeah, I gotta say, that was all right. A little tired. But anyways, I hope it made more sense of all the details I gave about why using your sets and reps and weight on paper you have as your only indicator of if you're progressing, why you shouldn't do that. Because of how you're always going to be plateauing, or at least think you're plateauing, because you're going off of one thing, and one thing that is not very consistent. Even in progressing, like 1 week you may get no more reps than last week, and then the week after that you get like 3 more. And who knows why? Because there's like 30 different variables that go into it. Maybe that 1 week you got not enough sleep and you didn't realize it, or your quality sleep is crap. And then the week after you're great, and then you add up all the extra training you did from that, the recovery adds up all those training days. And you thought you plateaued for a week. And then if you went only by tracking your paper progression, you may have reconsidered what you were doing that week and maybe change something up, when in reality all you had to do was just wait another week, because you're looking at the wrong metrics. I'm trying to think if there's like an analogy I can give of like looking at the wrong thing for what you're trying to track. Like I don't know. I can't think of something off the top of my head, and if I do, it's probably not gonna come off correctly. So I'm not gonna worry about that. But let's see, what else is there to talk about? I might as well just keep talking about that. Make the whole video talking about the tracking part of it. Yeah, I think the number one thing progression-wise, or top two kind of go hand in hand, is if your body weight is going up week to week and you're training hard every time you go into the gym. Because if those two are in a line, more likely than not, even if your sleep is crap, even if you're not getting full nights of sleep, and what was the second thing I had on the list? Even if that's the only two things you really have in a line, is you're training hard and you eating in a surplus, that will take you very, very far. That will take you even further than tracking your exact reps of getting one more. Because you know, like, concrete evidence that your weight is changing. And that is like, if you're doing it week to week, that's almost like basically a guaranteed like data you're giving yourself. Whereas your reps, there's a lot more fluctuation between the two. When you track your weight week to week, it takes out the fluctuation variance, because it's 7 days worth of an average instead of just 1 day to 1 day. That's like if you tracked your weight daily and measured your maintenance day to day. Like, dude, there's too much variance. And that is one of the biggest changes in no longer plateauing. Because I think a lot of people, at least myself, I hit a year-long plateau. And I did not know what was wrong. And that was only a couple of years ago. And I thought it was, I needed to slow down my sets. I thought I needed to change up how I was training. I thought I was doing something wrong. I didn't know if I was getting enough sleep. I was trying like, oh, I need to do 4 sets instead of 3, or I need to do more. But, it's because you're looking at the wrong metric. So you're looking at tracking your weight instead of everything else that's involved. And huge, huge difference. So let me think. If you ever, what else is there to talk about it for? I guess something to motivate you a little more for why you should look at different metrics is, let's say tracking your progression is about 50% effort, like just your weight progression in the gym. Tracking just your reps and weights is about 50% effort, I'd say, and it's only going to get you about like 25% of the results. But if you track your morning weight week to week, you track your 7 hours of sleep, you know you're getting 7 hours, you track like them looking at the mirror, and you train hard every time you go into the gym. I just lost my train of thought. What the hell is I talking about? Bro. My fault. I just completely lost my train of thought. Anyways. We got, I'll probably have a second cheat meal this week just to push the bulk a little further. Oh, I know what I was saying. If you track all 4 of those, that's 100% effort, and that's going to get you 100% of the results. So one of them is 50% effort, 25% results. The other one's 100% effort, 100% results. What sounds like the better trade-off? You're already giving half the effort. Why not just give a little more? And not only will you get more output, more result, but the ratio of the effort to result is way more. 50% to 25% is you're only getting half of the results from, you're getting a quarter result from half effort. It's not even an equal trade-off. You're actually getting like a diminishing trade-off. But if you just give it full effort, you get a full trade-off and more. That's a 4x return on the amount of effort you put in. One's 25% return, and one's 100%. Huge difference. So, just a couple things that can get changed. And I think part of it is as soon as you recognize yourself giving excuses to that is the first step in the right direction, because it's inconvenience for everybody. Everybody has their jobs. Everybody has something going on. You got family. You got something to do. Everybody always has something going on. And if you're just constantly making excuses of why you can't get it done, then don't complain about the results that you can't get, because it's possible. We've all gone through it. I used to have 10-hour school days because I'd have to get there a few hours earlier because I had to take the city bus after driving with my dad to his work, and then take the city bus to school, and then be there for 2 hours before class, and then have to wait an hour and a half after class to go home with him. It's about a 10-hour day for me. And then I would work out, and then I would go to hockey practice for 2 hours. It's a 16-hour day, basically, including driving. And I still got it done. I still got all my meals in. I slammed a shake in the morning. I had a giant meal at lunch. I brought a giant snack for during recess. And everybody has their issues of getting the shape they want. By no means does anybody just have it handed to them on a silver platter. So if you think you're an exception because you have inconveniences to try to get in shape, it's like everyone goes through it. So if you're going to give excuses, be okay with that you're not at the spot you want to be. Because otherwise, if you're unhappy with it and you can change it, then make the change. It doesn't make sense to be unhappy with something that you can change and not change it. Because otherwise you're just sitting there unhappy when you could just fix it. So it's either be okay with what you look like or make the change. Like, none of the complaining about something that you literally can change today. And there's no really excuses. Like, there's always a way to figure it out and progress somehow. It doesn't have to be this picture-perfect plan, but you can always absolutely change gradually in any circumstance. So I think that's pretty important to lay out, because I know a lot of people will just be lazy about it and say like, oh, I have a great excuse to say, oh, I can't do this today, I can't do that today. Oh, I'll work. So I mean, do you want it or not? And I do no justice sugarcoating what I say to you guys and being nice about it, because I want to see y'all succeed. I want to see y'all get to where you want to be. I want to see you guys be more confident when you're walking around. I want you guys to be able to pursue what you truly want and not shy away from it because there's so many excuses you can give yourself. Yeah. How about that for some motivational end of the video? Tomorrow we got biceps, a little bit of back. So that'll be uploaded the day after this one. And I got to throw in a whiteboard video somewhere. I will get that done for sure. So I appreciate y'all watching. I will see you guys tomorrow for some biceps. Peace.